Luster Bayless may have been born into poverty, but he made his name and found his fame here, in glittering Los Angeles.
He's probably got one of the largest costume houses in the world. A sharecropper's son from Mississippi.
We lived on this plantation, and we would have so many acres there that we could farm. When you start getting the cotton in, you're supposed to get some of the seed money. But really, they never gave us any of that, so you were in the hole. And you stayed in the hole. And that's what the whole plantation thing was.
When we got into high school and started playing football together, sometimes Luster couldn't come to practice because he'd be out in the fields working.
But he was still voted captain of the football team. Well, after high school, and then 2 years in the Navy, Luster Bayless was back here in Rouville. But then his friend Jimmy, who had gotten a job in the costuming business out in Los Angeles, called Luster one night and said he had lined him up in an interview.
And I said, I'm leaving here tomorrow. I'm going west.
So he hitchhiked to L.A.
I got the interview because of Jimmy, but I did not have the job. I had an interview. Wow, I'm sort of scared there.
There wasn't an opening. In fact, there were 75 applicants ahead of him.
I said, give me anything you got. I don't care what it is. And I looked him in the eyeball when I said it. And he leaned back in a chair like this and scratched his head a couple of times. And then he rose up in the chair and he said, I'll tell you what, you come to work Monday morning at 9 o'clock.
After 2 or 3 years of wardrobe backup work, Bayless went to Arizona to assist on the movie McClintock. He worked with John Wayne. That led to another John Wayne Western and an offer.
He said, look, I want you to do all my movies. And I said, okay, let's go for it. He said, I got 6 of them lined up right now.
Luster went on to become one of Wayne's dear friends.
He knew my history from sharecropper all the way. And he respected a person who came from something and made something. I said.
Their collaboration lasted for the rest of John Wayne's career. And when his friend was dying, Luster took him a note.
My note says, Duke, you got a tough poker hand dealt to you. But knowing how lucky you draw at poker, you'll come out a winner. Here's an old friend pulling for you on your next draw. P.S. My friendship with you, Duke, has made me a better person. Thanks.
In his years of working with John Wayne, Luster collected quite a few costumes. So in 1977, just a couple of years before Duke's death, he opened his own business.
Luster would buy wardrobe from studios that were getting out of the movie business, the wardrobe business.
My whole thing was to build American history from 1770s to 1970s. And in that 200-year span, I want to make sure that we could give them the look from the head to the toe. Also in characterizations, or if it's summer or winter, or better dress, I'm going to build this place that way. And that's what I did.
And now, American Costume, it is huge. His costume house is so perfect, size, colors, it's just amazing, And when you first go in there, it's just like, wow, this is something else.
Well, you see, this is 20s, 30s, and 40s, and we do this from left to right. Everything is left to right. This starts with small sizes, and you go big sizes. And we know what period it is because it tells you on the front. So you got to have the entire thing here so it gives you what you need as far as that look.
And he's costumed everything from Lincoln to NCIS. And when you costume head to toe, you gotta have hats. Old hats made new.
No matter how old the hat looks outside, we like for a band to be on there with sweat.
And new hats made old.
A bunch of these hats were aged right out there in that parking lot. I'm throwing dirt on them, I spit on them, I put the sweat around the brims.
Ethnic hats, ladies' hats, children's hats. And when his collection got too big, he opened a second shop nearby, this one specializing in uniforms. On the way there, we learned a little more about how Luster Bayless began his costume business.
This is where I was. You see where those cars are? There was no fence there. And I was in this little room right in here. That's how big it's gotten. If I said I had planned all this to be this way, I would be lying. I don't know. I just didn't give up.
Bayless's persistence is evident in his military shop, starting with the American Revolution through the Civil War and into Vietnam. Officer and enlisted, every branch of service. And of course, every detail from head to toe. And he doesn't stop there. Check out the civilian uniforms. Fire, police, even Cub Scouts. This building also contains one personal treasure.
This is Seth Banks' work box. He gave me this when he retired. Seth Banks is Jimmy's uncle. He's the one that got us all out here.
Bayless still calls Mississippi home, and these days he splits his time between Hollywood and Ruleville, where his costume museum houses over 1,000 of his favorite pieces.
I didn't want it out there in Hollywood. I put it here in the hometown where I came from. And I believe that's where it should be, for people to see and enjoy.
These are items from Luster's long career: the Shootist, Gunsmoke, Tom Horn, Appaloosa, and to the recent Django Unchained. Of course, there's a large display dedicated to John Wayne, including this telegram Duke dictated from his deathbed.
I like to do things here and donate the contributions if anything comes in. I give it to the John Wayne cancer thing in Santa Monica. There's no money goes out of here, it goes to the cancer.
It was great to see my dear friend Luster accomplish what he did and what he's still doing.